Right, live today with British boxing legend John McDermott, um, former English champion. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. How you doing yourself?
I'm great, mate. Great. So, just tell us about your career, mate. I was always a big fan of watching your fights when you were active. How did you first get into boxing?
Well, just my dad obviously knew my manager for years, and then I was just went on from there. Really, I was getting myself in a lot
Uh-huh.
of trouble. I was getting myself in a lot of trouble when I was a young kid, and then I thought I'll try boxing, and that's what I did.
Uh-huh. Did you have much of an amateur background?
No, well, to be honest with you, mate, I only had 7 fights as an amateur. I turned pro at 20. I didn't start boxing until I was 17.
Uh-huh. And what was your amateur record, John?
I had 7 fights, one loss. I won the ABAs with my seventh fight.
Was that the senior ABAs as well, mate?
Yes, mate, senior. Yeah. I didn't start boxing until I was 17. So I had my first fight and I lost it. I got stopped in the first round. My headgear come off. And then obviously I went out to, that's where I went to now, to different countries, started boxing out there. And then come back and I done the ABAs and I won the ABA finals in my seventh fight.
You must have showed some ability for your coaches to be confident enough to just put you straight into the ABAs, mate.
Yeah, well, I was training at St Pancras boxing gym then. I was sparring with heavyweights. I was sparring with professionals. You know what I mean? I was sparring with Terry Dunstan. He was a cruiserweight. I done a few rounds with him. I know, not so I didn't. I done okay. I holding my own anyway.
Uh-huh. So, what was it like for you when you first went pro, John?
It was all right, mate. But now I should have stayed amateur a bit longer. I'd never had enough. Like even though like I had 7 fights and I won the ABAs, I should have boxed for England. I was offered to box for England, but I didn't. I didn't take the opportunity. To be honest, yeah, as every amateur, you know, it's skint, had no money, and
Uh-huh.
I wanted to turn pro to get some money.
Yeah. Do you think it was a mistake now? Maybe he's not staying amateur a little bit longer.
Yes, mate, definitely. Yeah, because I was like 21 and I had like 21 fights, and I was only 22. Do you know what I mean? It was like I was too young to go for like big championship fights. And I had like, you know, my record was like, I was like 17 and 0, 18 and 0 when I was like 21. So,
Uh-huh.
to be honest, yeah,
So
I should have
who was
stayed.
your first defeat, mate? I was just looking at your record, and I think
Mark
with
Krentz. Mark
Mark
Krentz, but
Trent.
it was a ridiculous decision.
Yeah. And what was the story with that one, John?
No, just basically, I had the fight and the referee give it to him. Richard, the same one as Tyson Fury. Same bad decision.
Uh-huh.
Terry
Well,
O'Connor again.
do you think that was a little bit before your prime, maybe, when you fought Mark Trent?
It was, mate, but I still won the fight hands down.
Yeah, yeah. So it was one of them where you should have won. Because
Ridiculously, mate.
we've just
I
got a
should have won.
comment here.
Well, Frank Warren was my manager at the time, and he said, what we do, we would put a complaint into the board, but I never heard nothing back. But as always, it's a bad decision, you know, story of my life.
Aye. So then, tell us the story, because you told me on the phone, mate, where a couple of fights later you lost to Matt Skelton, and that was the first time I remember watching you.
Yeah, I lost to Matt Skelton. You know, unluckily, I'm not made excuses. My daughter was born premature, and it was going for that sort of time. I wasn't as trained as I should have done, and then I should have took the fight, but you know, I needed the money, and that was basically I took the fight, and you know, he just unluckily he just caught me with a good shot. You know what I mean? Like I sparred with Matt Skelton. I boxed him since then, but before then I sparred Matt Skelton at least 30 different occasions, and just happened to catch me on that good shot at the first round. I wasn't warmed up properly. My trainer at the time, he took someone on. He took someone on as well, Brett James, and he was on before me, just the fight before. So I wasn't even warmed up. I never had time to warm up. Like he was in a corner with him, and I was in the changing room on my own. And basically, I was trying to warm myself up. He come as soon as Brett he obviously lost against Ross Minter, and then he come took me on the pads for one round, and then we went straight out to the fight. So I wasn't actually warmed up.
You know what it is? I've heard a load of like fighters who've come on my channel and they've spoke about stuff, and that's a trick that promoters always play that way. They never let the away fighter warm up.
Yeah, really, my manager should have kicked off and said, like, no, my trainer started this bloke training Brett James, quite a good fighter. He was boxing for the English title, and it was directly the fight before mine. So I had no trainer to warm me up. I was asking other trainers.
So after the Matt Skelton loss, how did you rebound? You had a few fights, then you ended up fighting Danny Williams, didn't you?
Yeah, what basically happened? I boxed Matt Skelton, and after that, I boxed a guy called Nikolai Popov, and I broke my ankle. Before that, didn't I? I broke my ankle. I was in cast for nearly a year.
Yeah.
And after that, I basically I was in cast for a year, and I come back and I fought myself back. I got to fight Danny Williams, and I boxed Danny Williams for the British title. And to be honest, it was I don't know how the referee put it down as I lost out. I don't even know.
That was a shocking robbery, mate. I remember that like it was an absolute disgrace. Someone here said, Big Billy said, does he think Fury cheated Wilder? Well, personally, I don't. Can you see that question there,
again,
John?
mate, I didn't quite hear that. Say that again.
Do you think that Fury cheated Wilder?
No, I don't think so, mate. No, I don't. I don't think so. Listen, what Fury's done, I think he beat Wilder down fair and square, and that was it. You know what I mean? They say about this, about the gloves, and say about that, but do you know what I mean? I don't believe he cheated him, no.
Yeah, I think Fury just had too much for him. Easy, that's it, simple as.
Yes, I agree.
So let's talk about your fight with Fury, mate. Like obviously at the time Fury was an up and coming hot prospect, and you were maybe seen as a stepping stone for him. But
yeah, well, obviously they put me in a stepping stone. I think I was a bit too soon for him. I was a seasoned pro. I mean, he done fantastically. I think what he did was fantastic. Yeah, he basically I took me too early. I think the second one I knew he'd improved, but I trained too hard for that one. I had nothing left in the tank. I left it all in the gym. But the first one,
what was the story of what was the story of the first fight, John? Because I remember the first fight with you and Fury, there was a lot of pushing and shoving in the build up and squaring off. And
yeah, that mean nothing to me. He just tried to get under my skin. So I mean, it's obviously it helped a little bit. Obviously, it wound me up, but do you know what I mean? Just basically, I was there to do a job, and that was it. I honestly do thought I won the fight. I can't see how the referee scored it to him by 8 rounds. I have no idea.
And what you calling I watched on another interview you had when you were talking about the rematch where did you not nearly pull out before the fight or something?
I didn't know. No. What it was, Tyson Murray pulled out twice before that, and I carry on training. And to be honest with you, mate, I'm not listening. He beat me, and that was it. But I did have glandular fever 3 weeks before the fight. I was really ill. I was in bed for a week. I was knackered, and then basically I was skint. I had no money. I was getting like 35 grand for the fight. I think I 30 grand for the fight. I was absolutely penniless. I had no money. I trained for a year for a fight that Tyson pulled out twice of. Jim McDermott trained me really hard, and I just got down with a fever, and I just couldn't get over it. But when I felt fine until about the second round, I was actually knackered. All the rest of the 10 rounds or 8 rounds I boxed was on pure heart, and I had nothing left. You can see the difference between the first fight and the second fight.
Mm. Was there a situation where like the Sky producer come out and said, if you pull out of this fight, we're going to sue you?
What basically happened, there was all a big argument about the gloves. So basically, Tyson and Fury had raised gloves and I had BBE. Later did I find out that Frank Maloney, or Kelly Maloney now you want to call it, he basically agreed to that. I specifically signed the contract, and I did do, not knowing that he would wear completely different gloves. So yeah, so that both parties started arguing, gonna have the fight, not having the fight. So then basically I said, well, I'll go home then. I'll go home. And as Jim McDermott advised me to. And then some producer of the Sky basically said, look, you'll get fined because you've signed a contract for the fight. But I explained to the guy that he's got completely different gloves. He said, well, that's down to your manager and your promoter, not down to us. You signed the contract for the fight. So anyway, I'd have got sued. So I would have chance of being sued for the whole contest. So obviously, I took the fight and I done it.
And do you have you kept in touch with Tyson since? Do you still speak to
No,
him?
no, I haven't spoke to him, mate. I've got no active going with him. I think what he's done, he's turned himself around. I think he's done amazingly for what he come back not only from his boxing side of it, he's done amazing with that. I think coming back from like me, I'm slightly overweight. I've put on weight since I stopped boxing. I drink probably more than I should. Do you know what I mean? But he's turned his whole life around, isn't he?
He's done amazing, mate. I'm a massive fan of Fury, I really am. And speaking of Fury, what do you think of his little brother Tommy Fury and this Jake Paul
I
thing?
don't. To be honest, I don't. I've seen Tommy box. He's not a touch on Fury. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's not a touch on Tyson. But obviously he can box a bit, mate. But I don't know enough about this guy. I don't know. I don't really follow him. I don't know enough to give an opinion. Obviously, I want Tommy Fury to win. Obviously, I mean you back the Englishman because but I don't know enough for him to make a judgment. I do know
um,
enough about Tyson Fury and
do you know? Do you know in the fight that you lost with Tyson? I heard that was it Terry O'Connor who was a referee?
that's correct. Yeah,
Did your dad box or something?
yeah, twice and knocked him out twice.
Because I heard that Terry O'Connor had a grudge against
Yeah,
you
so
or
my
something
dad
because
boxed
your
him
dad beat him.
once for the eliminator. No, sorry, once for the ABA finals or quarterfinals in the ABAs as an amateur, and then once for the eliminator for the British title.
Uh,
Dad not
and,
stopped him twice.
and do you think it was maybe a little bit wrong that they had Terry O'Connor as the referee? They
Well,
considering
listen,
the
see,
history.
I had Terry O'Connor as a referee. Quickly, I'll tell you quickly. But I had Terry O'Connor with the fight against Mark Krentz, and everybody was up in arms. People don't forget now, but it was such a bad decision. Like I beat him hands down like ridiculously, and I had him so I put a complaint in and said like I don't want him as my referee anymore. So with the Fury fight, we wrote a letter to the board saying I don't care who I have, I just don't want Terry O'Connor. Every fight I've lost, he's been with him. But yeah, so basically it goes on and on and on. We decided to let her off. So I sent a letter to the board. Comes back on the day. We got Terry Richard Davis. I think we had as a referee. 15 minutes before the fight, he's got an upset stomach. Then I got Terry O'Connor again. So I don't know what you read into that. I don't know. I don't know if it was a setup. I have no idea. But all I know, I asked him not to be my referee, and 10 minutes before, he's now my referee again.
What a lot of people don't know about you is that you sparred some of the biggest names out there like Povetkin and Anthony Joshua and
Yeah, I
others. Would
sparred with
you?
all of them. Yeah, I went out to Russia to spar with Povetkin. I think I was out there 3 times in total, 6 weeks at a time. I went and sparred. I sparred with David A. I sparred with all of them. I sparred with Joshua when he just after he won the Olympics or before the Olympics, both I think. I've done a lot of spar with all of them. I sparred with Danny Williams, obviously hundreds of times. Max Skelton. I sparred hundreds of people.
How
So
did the spars go with Anthony Joshua?
I think it was fantastic. To be honest, when he first won the Olympics, and I was in the gym, I'd move around with him. Then he was, he was a hell of a force to be tended with. In my opinion, I think he was better then. Not so obviously, he's obviously got more experience now, but I think he was a bit more lighter and he had a bit more athletic. He reminded me very much of David A.
I've always said the same, mate. Like I think he's a little bit over the hill now. What do you think about Anthony Joshua on his comeback route? Do you think he's going to do anything?
Well, he's obviously, the man can punch. He obviously, whatever way he's got plenty of experience. He's been in with top champions. So, do you know what I mean? He's just become, I found, a bit wanted. But I just, my opinion, I think he's blown up too big. He's too big, too strong. I think, like he's sort of stamped. Like when I first sparred with him, he's like probably 16 stone, and he was like, it might very remind me very often of David A. He was so quick and so fast. Obviously, I ain't sparred with him since then. I don't know if he slowed down, but before he was like a hell of a force to attend with.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. And like I says, I've seen you talk about the Povetkin sort of spars, and you reckon that you really thought that you could have beat Povetkin?
Well, I wouldn't say I'd have beat him. Things are different in a fight, but I'll tell you something. In the sparring, I was more than holding my own. I've had him knocked out on his feet more times. I remember a few times I thought I was going to get sent home. I was thinking, oh bloody hell, they're going to send me home if I carry on doing this. But they obviously didn't, and they're after me back. So I made him work, you know.
Uh-huh. What's your biggest regret from your boxing career, John? And is there any fights that you wish had happened, what didn't happen in the end?
Well, you know, I what happened? I won the English title back, obviously against Matt Skelton, and then I just couldn't get a fight. I was 2 years for the champion, and no one wanted to fight against me. So the idea was to like, I was like 32. To be honest, I had a family at the time. I knew my heart was into boxing, and that's what my aim was, to get as much money as possible. And I won the title against Matt Skelton. I just couldn't get a fight. People didn't want to fight me. I mean, the board was putting out me against Dillian White, and I think they offered me £1,700 to fight. Oh, Dillian White wasn't the start of his career, but his manager rang me up and offered me £1,700 to fight Dillian White at the Elephant Castle, top of the bill.
Wow.
I said, mate, I'll sooner chuck the belt in the bin, mate.
It's shocking when you think that you were English champion and you get offered £1,700 for fights against
Dillian.
prospects and
I don't know
stuff.
who his manager was, but he rang me up and said, "Oh, Dillian's just coming through. You know, do you want to fight for the English title? I can pay you £1,700."
There's a part of you wish that you took that opportunity and maybe beat Dillian White just so you could say that you'd done it.
Listen, I was down to fight Dillian White. I was on the way to the press conference, and I got a phone call from the British Border Control saying that Dillian White's failed a drugs test. The fight's been put off, so I was down to fight him twice. No, another time since then, and the fight just didn't happen. So maybe it just didn't happen for a reason.
And people forget, you're getting offered £1,700, but then you've got to pay your trainers and expenses and all the rest of it, haven't you?
I ain't being funny, mate. I got £4,000 for a 4-rounder when I was out first term pro. So I'm not going to box a 10 rounder for £1,700.
Yeah, exactly. That's shocking. That's absolutely shocking, mate. What about fights with you nearly fought Anthony Joshua and Hughie Fury? How do you think they would have went,
I
mate?
was down to fight Hughie Fury twice. Twice I was down to fight Hughie Fury. That was the last straw. That's one of the reasons why I stopped boxing. I was didn't fight for 2 years. I was training virtually every day, every other day anyway, just ticking over, doing a few runs and a few training sessions. And then I was down to fight it. I think Hennessy won the purse bids. I don't know how much it was now. I think it was 15 grand. I think maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And then it was like 2 weeks for the fight. Twice it happened. 2 weeks for the fight. The fight was going to go ahead. I was ringing up to buy tickets, and they wasn't sending them. And then basically I was asking again for more tickets. They wasn't sending them. And then the fight never happened. A week before the fight, we got told, sorry, the fight's off. And then I got a phone call for the second time. I got a phone call from the board and said he's won the purse bids, but I haven't put the money in.
Uh-huh.
So then basically, go on, mate.
And what do you think about Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk? How do you see that going there?
I think Fury's going to beat him. Listen, it's not going to be a pretty fight. I think Tyson. This is my honest opinion. I don't think there's a fighter out there at the moment, even nowhere near to beat him. I think Usyk's one of the best ones, but he's not big enough. He's just Tyson Fury's going to old man him, grab him, hold him, hit him with a jab, grab him again. Just be a boring fight, but that's the only way he's going to beat him. I think if he has a boxing match with him, it's going to be harder for him. He's just going to grab him and hold him, lean on him, put his 18, 19 stone on him, and just basically be a boring fight, but Tyson to win. I think late stoppages, if you don't stoppage him, he'll be win on points.
And would you ever consider like boxing in any capacity ever again, John? Would you ever like?
Listen, Tyson threw a challenge out a while ago, didn't he? My mate sent me all the videos saying, "Oh, Tyson, John McDermott, Essex legend."
I saw that.
Yeah. Well, if the money was right, yeah, I'd fight him again to make it a trilogy. Yeah, of course I would. So I mean, I'm not in no fit state, and I know that I'll probably get an hiding, but I'll have a good go. That's for sure. I'll give it 100%.
Would you? Would you ever like get in and spar him or anything like that, or fighting an undercard of Tyson's?
I still do. Listen, man, I put on weight. I'm probably 3 or 4 stone heavier than when I used to box at, but I do. There's a few guys down the gym I do some sparring with. There's a few there's unlicensed boxings there, and I do move around. I like what I do. Wednesday last week, I think I've done about 12 round sparring, but only nothing spectacular. I just like a few middleweights and there's a light heavyweight, there's an heavyweight, just moving around with them. That's all.
Does the phone keep ringing, John? And do people keep asking you to?
Sorry,
Does
mate?
the phone keep ringing? Do people keep asking you to fight?
No one's asked me to fight, mate. No, sorry. Next door, he's drilling a hole for some reason. No one's asked me to fight, mate.
Well, I'll just see. Is there anyone in the comments who wants to ask John any questions here? Who's watching live? I'll just see if there's anyone in the comments, John.
All right, mate.
But John, could you just tell us about, the rematch, how you had glandular fever against Tyson Fury? Could you tell us a bit more about that as well?
Well, basically, I had no money, mate. I was skint. I needed the money. I was getting married 2 weeks after that, and I was getting good money for the fight, so I had no option. I just needed listen. Tyson beat me. I think I didn't put up a good enough show, really. I wasn't nowhere near ready. I should have pulled out the fight myself. Had another month, and then I'm not saying it'd be a different outcome. I don't know, but I was knackered after the second round. I was absolutely shattered after the second round. All the rest was done at heart.
Someone in the comments has said, "Is John Fury really scary in real life?"
Well, listen, I don't know about that being scary in real life, but when the first time every time I spoke to him, he's been respectful to me. You know what I mean? I have no qualms with him. Obviously, my dad and his dad was having an argument over the gloves, but that was between them. It weren't nothing doing me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I spoke to him after the first Fury fight. He come and see me and said, "I think you won that, son." Do you know what I mean? That was the first one. The second one, he come over and shook me hand and said, "Well done, good fight, mate." So I've got no qualms with John Fury. I mean, he's been all right to me. I've got no arms with
him. Someone's asked, what was your most enjoyable aspect of boxing overall?
See, I like getting stuck in. I was like, I was like getting stuck in. I mean, boxing is a crazy old thing. You hated it until you got in there, and once you're in there, you think, "Oh, I love it." And once you get out, what am I doing this for? And you couldn't wait to get back in there. It's crazy. Like in the change room, you think, "Oh, mate, you know what? I should be a window cleaner, or I should be in an office somewhere." And all of a sudden, you have the fight. You're in it. You love it. You know what I mean? You never take that away from you again. Like even now, you walk into a gym, you can feel your flutters again. You know what I
mean? It's a hard thing to give up, boxing. It really is.
It is. Yeah.
Someone said, "Would you think about being a trainer?"
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, but I help a few little young kids out, in my area. They've done very well as amateurs. I helped a few of them out. They've won a few championships. Yeah, definitely. If the thing is, you got a mortgage and kids, and a lot of professional trainers don't earn a lot of money. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Do you know what I mean? I would do. That'd be my passion. I mean, I've got no what I've learned in boxing. You can never you got to take years to learn. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to show someone, but it's just, as you say, you got mortgage and kids to keep. You just can't afford to be a trainer.
Maybe something for in the future when you've saved a few more pounds up to one side.
That's maybe.
As like a promoter sort of thing, John, this is what I've always wanted to ask you. I've seen you be a bit critical of Frank now, Kelly, after his sex change. What did you think about him? Or her now?
Well, do you know what I mean? Same as all, same with all sponsors, mate. If they can screw you, they will. I remember he done me a few times, but I had quite a good manager at the time, so he never done me too bad. Do you know what I mean? But with them gloves with Fury, that was a definitely thing. He asked me to sign the gloves. He told me he wanted different colour gloves. But when I got to the arena, there was different gloves altogether. So, you know, obviously they're all the same. They just want to fight the guy here. They don't want money, won't they? But, you know, it's a shame, innit? But, yeah, I've had Frank Warren. He's been all right with me. I mean, I had about 10 fights with him or 15 fights with him. He's, always been paid, you know.
Oh, I've just lost John a second there. Maybe his battery's died or something. I'll just hang around a second and see if he comes back. Oh, yeah, he is. John, I've got a question here. Do you think Eubank should rematch Smith?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good fight. I think he got caught. You know, I mean, I'm not saying I think it's the same outcome, but all this rubbish about elbows and all that. Listen, it's a load of old rubbish. Do you know what I mean? He got hit on the chin. He may got hit with an elbow, but when there's punches throwing, that's what happens, isn't it? If it was vice versa, he wouldn't complain if he hit me with an elbow, would he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the elbow stuff's a load of rubbish, but a lot of people are writing Eubank off. You got called a couple of times, didn't you? And you come back and won rematches with like Matt Skelton
The
stuff.
thing is, though, he's in the fourth round, though, isn't it? I got caught in the first round.
Yeah.
4 rounds, you should be warming into the fight by then. Do you know what I mean? The 4 rounds.
You're right, John, because in all the fights I've ever had, right, in an amateur and unlicensed, I only ever got knocked out in the first round, and it's when you're not really warmed up.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to Frank Maloney since his or Kelly Maloney now since?
Yeah, once I did. I was down to fight the guy from Scotland, the heavyweight from Scotland. I can't think of his name now. And then so basically he was going to do co-promoting with some Scottish guy. So I went to a press conference there. I spoke to him. You know, I mean, I didn't know what to call him at the time. I was calling him mate, but you know, he's obviously Kelly, and good luck to him. That keeps him happy. All the best in the world.
Oh, aye, definitely. And how do you think you would have done, John, in today's heavyweight scene in your prime? Because I think you would have, like, especially like the last few years, if you just come around about 5 or 6 years later, you would have made so much more money.
I was like, you know, I think today's heavyweights, I think I would have done a lot better. You know what I mean? You know, it's just unlucky, really. I just come at the wrong time. I think people are getting a lot more money now, rightly so. Like, I mean, when I was boxing, we got $4,000 my first fight, but after that, like I boxed Pele Reed. I got $6,500 to fight Pele Reed. Like my last fight against Matt Skelton, I got $5,000. Mate, I spent £1,500 on my teeth. Got 2 teeth knocked out.
And I know you've said, John, that Tyson Fury's the best heavyweight, but who do you think is his biggest threat? And how long do you think Tyson Fury should continue boxing?
Well, I think the next one now is that Juggernaut. I think I know he's older than Fury. Depends how long he's going to stay around for. I think I've never sparred with him. I've seen him in the gym a few times, but I think he'd be a bit of a force, like a man to look out for. I think he's too big and too strong, isn't he?
Who's that one? Joe Joyce, did you say?
Yeah, Joe Joyce, the Juggernaut.
Oh, he's a real handful. Someone said, yeah, Big Baby Anderson, next heavyweight champ. I've seen him up and coming, and he really is the American lad. He really does look good.
I haven't seen him.
I've got a couple of questions here. What do you think of Josh Taylor? Someone's asked.
Josh Taylor, what weight is he?
He's the light welterweight. He was undisputed champion at light welterweight. He should have lost that fight to Jack Catterall.
I'll be honest with you, but I obviously follow the big fights, but I obviously watched it. But I'm not a great. I'm more for heavyweights than anything else, to be honest with you. I'm not into the lighter weights. I obviously do watch it, but I don't follow it closely enough to make the opinion on it.
Yeah. Did you never have any favourite fighters growing up, John? Who was your favourites?
Oh man, it was untold. I used to like Jersey Joe Walcott. I used to like Joe Frazier. Was obviously smoking Joe Frazier. I used to like Joe Lewis, the Jack Dempsey. The list is endless.
Have you ever been a little bit starstruck by any fighters what you've met, like in real life?
No, not really. No, I've not really. No, I haven't. No, when I spoke to, I did.
Just lost John for a second. I'm going to
Sorry,
end the
mate.
interview soon.
I'm
Sorry,
back
we
now,
lost you
mate.
there for a second, John. What were you saying?
I see. I met Lennox Lewis once. He was a massive guy. I didn't realize how big he was. He was a big
Well,
guy.
John, thanks a lot for today. I really appreciate you coming on. And is there anything else you'd like to say in closing? Or is that
No,
it?
that's it. Thank you, mate. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Well, have a nice day, John. Cheers
Cheers,
for
mate. All
coming
the
on,
best,
mate.
mate.
Right, take care.
Cheers,
Take
mate.
care, mate.
All the best. Cheers. Bye, bye.
All the best, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye.